Purpose of this video is to show you how to add a bird to Loft Manager Online using your mobile device. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up a live screen share of my iPhone 7. And as you can see here, I'm currently logged into Loft Manager Online. I'm on the My Birds tab on the dashboard. And there are essentially three Add Bird buttons on the dashboard. There's one in the My Birds tab, which you're looking at now. And clicking on that will bring up the Add Bird form via modal. There's also an Add Bird button on the main tab, right? And there's also another Add Bird button on the pedigree tab. But because we currently don't have any birds in the database, the pedigree, progeny, and pairing tabs are currently disabled. In fact, if you click on one of those, you'll actually get prompted to add a bird. It's also worth noting that if you click on a band number for a sire or dam that isn't already in your database, you will also get prompted to add that corresponding bird to your database. So let's go ahead and go through the process here. I'm going to click on Add Bird, which brings up the Add Bird form. And the first form field here is bird number, which is the band number for the bird. And that is the only required field. If you try to save or submit the bird, it'll say bird number is a required field. So I'm going to go ahead and type in a generic band number here. All right, description, you'll go ahead and type in a meaningful description. For this case, I'm just going to type in Aldis Champion, California. Okay, color. So the color field is actually a suggestive type field, as well as the strain, sire, dam, location, breeder, and status. Suggestive type is essentially what happens is as you progressively add more and more birds to your database, these fields will suggest text or make suggestions via a drop-down list, and basically it saves you from having to retype or type out the full string for that particular field. So for example, if I type in blue bar for the color for this particular bird and I save this bird, the next bird that I add to the database, as I type B, L, U, E, and so forth, blue bar will actually appear as a suggestion just below the field in a drop-down list. And if I add a second bird with the color of black, then when I actually go to add a third bird and I type in the letters BL in the color field, I'll actually get two options to choose from. One will be blue bar and the other will be black. And that list will progressively get longer and longer as you add more birds with distinct colors. Same holds true for strain, sire, dam, location, breeder, and status. So let's go ahead and move on to sex. This actually has a hotkey associated with it. So you can type in the letter H, and it'll automatically populate that field with hen. If you type the letter C, it'll populate that with cock. And if it's unknown, just type the letter U, and it'll populate the field with unknown. So I'm going to go ahead and specify this bird as being a hen. And for strain, we're going to go ahead and type in Sablon. And sire. You also notice that as I'm typing these band numbers, they're all in uppercase. The system does force band numbers in uppercase. All right, so location, go ahead and type in loft. Breeder, I'll just put in Steve. Status, let's type in breeder. Okay, and here's the pedigree comments field. We've made some changes to this. I'm going to go ahead and type in just a super pigeon here. And what you can do is you can actually select the copy that you'd like to make bold. Or alternatively, the other way to do this, so I'll just back up for a minute here. You can use the WYSIWYG Editor bold button, which is right here, toggling it on and off. It's a capital B. If that's enabled, and then anything you type will be in bold text. The other feature is that the PED Comments now accepts emojis. And moving forward here, we're going to go to the notes section. You can type notes here optionally, it's not required. And then finally we've got the races field. You can type some information here if you have some race info. And then I'm going to click on save. Okay, so the bird was successfully added. And you'll notice here that the strain, sire, and dam fields are populated with the previously entered data. This essentially serves as a convenience if you are entering subsequent birds belonging to the same strain, sire, and dam, so you don't have to retype that information. And if I close this out, you'll notice that the bird is now appearing in the My Birds table. And one thing I'd like to point out to you here is on the far left-hand column, there's this blue button with a white plus sign in it. That button there will toggle the data for a specific bird. The reason for that is that on mobile devices there isn't enough width to display 15 columns worth of data, so we actually have to collapse that data and make the data appear underneath the corresponding bird's row. Going over to the pedigree tabs real quick, now that it's enabled, you'll see we have an add bird button there as well. And jumping back over to the My Birds tab, I'll click on the sire here, band number for the sire, and you'll notice that that will actually prompt you to add the bird to your database. Same holds true for dam. And actually I could have done this from the pedigree tab as well. So clicking on the sire band number, it'll prompt you to add the bird. And we have the dam. One thing worth noting here, I know it's kind of out of context in relation to this video, but I do want to point out that this gridded area here is where you'll want to use your finger to navigate the trees in both the pedigree and pairing tabs. That's because these fields here do get gridlocked whenever the content for those fields exceeds the actual bounding box that it lives in. Each of these containers will actually have its own independent vertical scroller, and to prevent the entire page from jumping up and down, which would be quite annoying, there's basically some gridlocks in place here, and this gridded area here serves as an indicator of where you would want to use your finger to basically scroll left and right and up and down. So that pretty much concludes this video. Thanks for taking the time to watch it, and I encourage you to check out some of our other informational videos on loftmanageronline.com. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send them our way. Thanks.